Recoil Audio 10-inch dual 2 voice coil shallow subwoofer. Peak 600 rooms, 300 rooms, 2-inch voice coil, black coated. That means black people have touched it. Of course, there's no black people in Asia, so I don't know where they got their black people from. Tightly pressed paper cone with NBR surround, Echo Max. So there's an Echo Plus, there's an Echo Pro, and then there's an Echo Max series. I don't understand this stuff. This is the XS10D2. What do I know? I'm just some jerk in his fucking garage. This hardware is useless. In fact, it's not even magnetic. The stuff that's magnetic in there is the clips. The hardware is not even steel. It's some other weird bullshit. I don't know why they put it in there, but they do. It's pretty. I don't really like that coming out. And it would be great if that was some sort of venting, but I think it's just cosmetic. Makes it very difficult to dust. I think it would have been better smooth, and then maybe even done like a screen print of the Recoil logo, like white, to pop it. So the back looks cute. This looks cheap. I don't recommend that. You don't really need that. We talked about this on the 12-inch. Let's go ahead and burn it in and get some woofer pornography, and then see how it does on the machine. Well, of course, bringing the frequency down really low adds to the excursion, and then you quickly figure out how and when the subwoofer jumps the gap, because it becomes quite violent. You can hear it clacking. This is a 10-inch, so we're going to change that to 8.5. Air. FS is 35, so we'll err on the side of whatever. 34, we'll put it at 34. And then QTS is 1.0, which means it's best in a ported box, but you can still put it in a sealed box, just might not be as efficient. Let me see how we're going to do this. There we go. Uh, 1.2. So and it is measuring a good 2 ohms per coil with a 4.3 overall resistance. I did not hear the problems that we had with the other one, the 12-inch. That one we heard right away, some clapping that we isolated to the surround. Let me see if I can get this gasket off. Seems to be fine. Maybe it was a bad glue batch, I don't know. I see a little bit of where they might have gone over it with this is the other one was a soft glue. This is more hard. This is probably CA, which is what you're supposed to use. You got to rough up the rubber side, and then you got to rough up the metal side, and then what do you know? CA fucking bonds the way it's supposed to. Well, they're for sale. Go look at them. There's a link in the description, and you can buy them on the interwebs. I don't know how many they have. They probably have about maybe 10 or 12. But if it's a hit and you like it, I mean, at 34 hertz for the FS, it's pretty fucking good. I like it. And they'll again, I want to work with them to do something like this. And what they'll probably do is do the double stack version of this for Cicada. and then later come out with a recoil version that's, you know, more petite, not as girthy. Again, mostly just because Cicada is protected by dealers, and so you can you get to charge more, you get to make more money. So, and just like a lot of brands like Tesla, the rich people are the ones that pave the way and make it make the ability to have a good product like that in the market paid for. You're not making as much money, but you're doing more volume. So I think, can't remember if they tried to do these in the Amazon store, but whatever, they all got returned or whatever. They're in the warehouse there in Phoenix, and you can buy them. Let me look on the website real quick. I, of course, have a tab open for this new wire that's coming. It looks purple. I'm excited about it because it is so fucking cheap. That's 300 feet for only $14. And that's called the RS16300. Personally, I like using 18 gauge for internal wire, but this is fine. I don't think they're going to come out with an 18 gauge version. But it is aluminum. Again, that doesn't make a difference. You're only going 50 feet or 20 feet or whatever it is. It's fine for speakers, like regular coaxials. So right now it's out of stock because we have not received it yet, but we might be getting it here in the next container or the one after that. I think there's 2 or 3 on the water right now. So, and I'll be doing the reviews on these here probably later tonight. Waiting for these to get in. These are the ST408, and they come in a bag of 20. They are the 4 gauge crimp terminals. Wang Hai responded to my request to put these in the new DI amplifiers that use the kicker terminals. And so they are now in the DI 550.4, the 800.4, and the 1200.4. So thank you, Wang Hai. But let me look up. Should come up just as shallow. Again, you gotta use keywords. 109. So I'll do it for 105, but Eric will probably see this and he'll be like, fuck you, Pat, and he'll lower the price. But there's like I said, there's only like 20 in stock. So 300 RMS, good. It's a really good, cheap, you know, subwoofer that, what was it? One of my favorites was, and I wish they would actually bring this in under the Echo series, just like not Echo Max, not Echo Plus, is the Rockford Fosgate R2 Slims. They sound amazing. And Rockford used to sell them online for $50 each, shipped. They were fucking great. 2-inch 6-layer voice coil. I'm not sure how this could be 6-layer if it's dual voice coil. I think that is kind of bullshit, but you know, whatever. Robust die-cast aluminum frame. Clipple DA optimized motor. I don't know about that either. That's kind of a bullshit name. But again, and I've argued with management about this, about, you know, making max peak claims and things like that, and they go, the job of this item is to sell, and if that's what sells it, then it sells. So, and me and the sales manager were like, we weren't bitching about Amazon, but we were just saying, like, it doesn't allow for dealers to have sort of a way with it. And they're like, well, you know, again, the company's very small. They're focused on Cicada sort of being the breadwinner and bringing home a lot of money so we can pay for tooling on things like that. Even though this dust cap was tooled, probably this cone was tooled, this gasket was tooled. Let's look at the back. Yeah, and then nothing on the back was tooled up. That spacer is real generic. And the rest of this is just chrome hardware and stuff like that. I would love to order just the frames though. Just the 12-spoke with diamond cut. So I'll ask Monica, see if she can give me a price on that. And it's funny too, because it's like, if I ask her for a price, it's like usually inflated. But then if I just go to like JLD, they're like, yeah, that's nothing. They're like, that's $5, $10, whatever it is, something super cheap. And then Monica will be like, it's $15. And I'm like, like, what's the minimum? 200 pieces? I'm like, no. And then you go back to JLD and you're like, what's the minimum? He's like, 100 pieces. It's not that big a deal. So, but I think that was it. So that's it. So I give my big thumb of approval. The only thing you're not going to get is lots of excursion. But again, if you put these in like a regular truck box that requires a shallow woofer, it's going to perform well. I wanted to look up what the latest version of the, hang on, let me pause this real quick. So I just Googled Rockford 10-inch shallow so that I'd get a bunch of results. And so the R2 Slim, which is the one that I recommended, they're selling for 116. So it's meant to, you know, compete with that. Dayton has their own version. It's a dual 4 at $135. And then of course, if you wait till Christmas, you can probably get 10% off. Scar has a semi-shallow, and then it came up, there it is, the T1 S2. These are good, but they're usually very cost prohibitive. If you take one of my homemade versions of my shallow subwoofer, which is the Sunshine Underground motor, we're doing those for only $300 shipped for the 10, and then $350 shipped for the 12. And those handle a solid 1000 RMS. They have a 3-inch copper voice coil. It's going to be 8-layer. We may even do a 6-layer version. When they do a 6-layer version, you can only do it single. So, because there's not a way to do it. Well, there technically there is, but it's very difficult. It's expensive. It's not. Typically, they don't do that. So typically, if you say 6 layers, that means it's a single voice coil. Yeah. And then the P3 shallow. It is a piece of shit. P3 shallow is made by a different factory that makes the P2 shallow for Rockford, and it is just a piece of garbage. 300 RMS. It doesn't play low is the problem, and it uses this metal cone unnecessarily. Somebody else was talking about this M surround. This M surround is garbage as well. It always breaks in the folds, and so I don't recommend it. Just a regular, you know. In fact, you want like a good semicircle, you know, kind of even a teardrop shape, and then when it attaches here on the cone, you actually want it at an angle. You don't want it flat, because again, it creates a crease right here in this first fold. So sometimes they do that on purpose. Like I've noticed that in a lot of JL audio revisions. It's like the first one, oh, it lasted too long. And that's the way those people think. I'm not a fan of that, but that's what they do. They're like, oh, if you're dumb enough and rich enough to buy one, you could buy another one for $300. So actually, you know what, let's look that up. Oh yeah, that's right, the TW3, that piece of garbage. That's the one where they put the tiny little secret 1.5 inch voice coil in there. It's a piece of garbage. But I think they use the same frame for the big brother, which is the TW5. And then they should make the TW5 in, of course, they make it in 13, which is a weirdo, you know, they do that on purpose so that when you can't put a 12 in it afterwards, right? You can't replace that with like the Rockford, you know, T1 Slim. You have to use their bullshit, and that's $849 for, let's see, oh yeah, for a 600 watt subwoofer. That's a piece of shit. I'd rather use the Dayton Audio LS10 44 10 millimeter X-Max, not a lot of X-Max. They did the same thing too. They go dual 4-ohm voice coils, 6 layers total. You guys don't know what you're talking about, so that's funny. You're not gonna do 3 layers. These pop-ups, these are what I hate, these fucking pop-ups. We got rid of those in the 90s. No, there's gonna be 4 layers if you have a dual 4. You can also do an 8-layer dual 4, but you can't do a dual 4 in 6 layers. Sorry, it just doesn't work that way, especially if you're offering it for $134. So what's the FS on this thing anyway? Specifications. Yeah, it's only 250 watts. It says it plays to 30 hertz, 2-inch voice coil. See, I don't like this either. They say it plays to 30 hertz, but the FS is at 34. You know, and it encourages people to then tune to 30 hertz in order to get to that 30 hertz. And really at 30 hertz, then the woofer is not playing, it's the port that's playing. So the subwoofer's not really playing at 30 hertz. The port and the box are playing at 30 hertz. That's why you don't want to tune. Can you tune below the FS? Yes. Is it wise? I don't think so. But that's just me. I love you guys. We had a busy weekend. I'll be doing more stuff, but I'm glad I was able to do this with you guys and sort of sit down for a second and talk about some of the there's other issues I have coming up. Somebody wanted me to tear apart. Let me see. Let me go to this guy. Where's it at? I saw the guy in it's SQ Silverado. He is a JL fanboy, as you can see from his avatar. So, but somebody asked me to tear apart this review. I have not seen this review. Does you know what this looks like? Is like a futuristic piece of war machinery. But I will probably tear this apart, this piece of shit apart. But not him. He's a fanboy. And what's funny is, if you're a fanboy of a brand like JL Audio that charges too much for basic stuff, you've either drank the Kool-Aid or you're making the Kool-Aid. You see how that works? Right? You can't be like a sensible, thoughtful, considerate human being and buy JL Audio. Why would you give them, how much is this thing? It's, good Lord, 8W7. My brain always thinks about what's the minimum characters I can write to come up with what I want. Now, I guess there's a math program or problem that has that. Do JL 8W7. There we go. $700. Yeah, they want $700 for that piece of shit. And you can beat that thing with a fucking massive Sumo 8-inch that used to go for $100. I don't know what they go for now on Amazon. The prices, everybody's price gouging, and then of course Gately sells his box for $558. What a bargain to make a. Oh, that's for a 10. Sorry. What's his name? Bobby Gately. Yep. Plywood. Is it Birch? Again, pop-ups. We don't need pop-ups. You gotta go further. And then of course Sky High. Gately Audio, single. See, all this, again, why can't you just show me the product that I want? Why do you have to advertise for all this other bullshit? I just want the description on that. There we go. 1-inch Russian Baltic birch. Good job. Good job, Bobby. Is it a knockdown enclosure or is it whole? Is it assembled? And then this thing goes on for, seems like, is this, no. Back in the old days when they had a blank space in the web page, it was because there was keywords. Like they would do white on white text, so you couldn't tell unless you dragged your mouse over and then like selected all this area, and then you would see all the keywords. And you're like, busty hookers, why is busty hookers a keyword? Again, it was to get people to, it was to direct search. And then that's it. Everybody loves it, of course. But if you're gonna pay $536 for a wood enclosure, you better love it. Subwoofer not included. I love you guys. I will talk to you later.